Hello friends, welcome to my new video. So today in this video I'm going to discuss with you all about Hirschberg test, and also we are going to know that how to perform Hirschberg test and how to find out different types of squint, and also going to measure the different degree of deviation. Okay, let's start. So before going to the discussion on Hirschberg test, first of all let us know that what is Hirschberg test. So Hirschberg test is the procedure. Okay, this test is to see how much degree of deviation of the eyes are there in strabismus. Okay, so strabismus means deviation of the eye. It can be inward, outward, upward, downward, in any direction. Like inward deviation is called isodeviation, outward temporal deviation is called as exodeviation, upward deviation is hyperdeviation, downward deviation is hypodeviation. So to find out what is the degree of deviation, so mainly by performing Hirschberg test we can differentiate manifest squint, but in Hirschberg test we cannot find out the latent squint, okay, or phoria, we cannot find it. So to find out the presence of phoria or latent squint, we need to perform cover uncover test. Okay, but in Hirschberg test we can see what is the deviation of manifest squint. Okay, so here that I given a picture here. So to perform Hirschberg test, you just need a pen light, and you need to fix the patient eye to a fixed object, and then fell the light over the patient forehead in between the eyebrows. At that time you will see two reflex on the patient eye. So depending on the position of the reflex, you can find out what is the degree of deviation and what type of strabismus it is. Okay, so in the first picture, okay, so here in this picture you can see that the two light reflex are in the central of the pupil. Okay, so two light reflex in the center of the pupil indicates that there is no deviation of the eye. Okay, so you will write on HBT central reflex is there. Okay, now suppose the reflex is now not in the central. So in the second picture, in this eye you can see that the light reflex is temporarily placed. Okay, so it indicates that there is isodeviation. So in Hirschberg test, if the light reflex is temporarily placed, then it is exodeviation, sorry, isodeviation of the eye. Okay, and if the light reflex is seen nasally, that nasally to the pupil, then it indicates that the eye is deviated outward, that is exodeviation. Okay, if the light reflex is placed downward or below the pupil, it indicates there is hyperdeviation, and if the reflex is placed upward to the pupil, it indicates that there is hypodeviation. Okay, so, and also on the position at what part of the eye the reflex is seen. Okay, so in this picture, you can see that the light reflex is on the pupillary margin. So if the light reflex is on the pupillary margin, it means that it is 15-degree deviation, and depending on the position of the reflex, as in this picture, the reflex is outward or temporal, that means the eye is nasally shifted eye, there is isodeviation, so it is 15-degree isotropia. Okay, so by performing Hirschberg test we found out what is the degree and what type of iso or manifest squint is there. So this is Hirschberg test. Now the third picture, here you can see that the light reflex is now in between the pupillary margin and the limbal margin, so it indicates that it is 30-degree isotropia. Okay, now in the last picture you can see that the light reflex is outward or little bit outward or on the limbus. Okay, it can, if the light reflex is on the limbal margin, okay, it means that there is 45-degree of deviation is there, and if it is outside the limbal margin, it is more than 45-degree. Okay, so what is the relation of this degree with prism diopter? Remember one thing, 1 degree is equal to 2 prism diopter. So if there is 15-degree deviation is there, then it indicates 30 PD or 30 prism diopter. Okay, so this is how you will calculate. Okay, now let's move. Now we are going to see some live examples. First of all, this child. So in this child, the child is apparently looking like an isotropic, but look the light reflex position in the child's eye. Here it is, the light reflex is in between the central of the pupil of the eye. It indicates that there is no deviation. So what it means? That it means that this is a case of pseudo-esotropia, or here the eyes are apparently look like strabismic, but actually they are not. So there is no strabismus is there. Okay, so the light rays are now placed. There is the light reflex can be seen in the central of the pupil. So it means that there is no deviation. So due to the elongated, or what to say, flat nose, the nasal canthus is little bit covered. So it is look like there is a strabismus is present, but actually there is no strabismus. Okay. Now the second example here, the patient, this eye, look at this eye, that the light reflex is now shifted nasally. Okay, that means the light reflex is in the same position, but as the eye is deviate outward, it is look like that now light reflex is nasally to the pupil. Okay, so it indicates that the eye is deviated outward or exo, and you can see that the position of the light reflex is in between the pupillary margin and the limbal margin. It means that there is 30-degree exotropia is there. Okay, now here you can see that in this eye there is 10-degree of exotropia is there. Okay, now here you can see in this eye of the patient, you can see that the light reflex is now below the pupil. So I said you that if the position of the light reflex is below the pupil, it means that there is hypertropia is there. That means eye is deviated out upward. Okay, not outward, it is upward. So this is hypertropia. So and the light reflex is on the pupillary margin. So it means that it is 15-degree hypertropia. Okay. Now here you can see that the light reflex is now in temporal side of the pupil. So it means that it is esotropia, and it is 30-degree esotropia is there. So by seeing the position of the reflex, you can easily differentiate what type of strabismus it is and what is the degree of deviation. Okay. Now let us move to another example. So this person have strabismus or squint eye in this eye. Okay. So if you do Hirschbach test to this patient, then you will see that the light reflex is seen outside the limbal margin. Okay, and it will be placed temporal side of the pupil. So it means that this person is having more than 45-degree of deviation of esotropia. Okay, in this eye. Now this is another example. Okay, so here the person, this eye is deviated outward, as you can see, but at what degree it is deviated you don't know. So for this purpose Hirschbach test is done. So you feel the light on the patient in this part, and two reflexes are seen now, and the position of the light reflex is nasal to the pupil. So it means that it is exotropia, and it is 30-degree exotropia. Okay. Now you can see in this upper picture, the person's this eye is deviated outward. So by seeing the position of the reflex, you can say what is the degree. So can you say what is the degree? Just think. Yes, you are right. It is 30-degree exotropia. Okay. So here you can see that it is not truly horizontal deviation. There is horizontal as well as little vertical deviation is there. Okay. So to rule out this, you need to do cover test, cover uncover test, this type of procedures. Okay. So by doing Hirschbach test, you can find out what is the deviation. So it is 30-degree exotropia. Okay. So in this patient, you can see that none of the light reflex is properly focused on the center of the pupil. In this eye, the light reflex is fall nasal to the pupil. It means that it is 45-degree exotropia, and you can see in this eye that the light reflex is not on the central, it is little bit upward. So it means that this eye is having 10-degree of hypotropia, as this line is not touching the pupillary margin, it is below the pupillary margin. So it is not truly 15-degree. Okay. So that's all friends, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like my video, subscribe to my channel, and please don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you will get notification whenever I upload a new video. Okay, thank you so much.